Hello and welcome to the first of this week's SBK betting podcast covering all the action at the Cheltenham Festival in 2025. Tips and analysis on all the races, race reviews, albeit not in this one considering we haven't had any races yet, and hopefully some entertainment along the way for you, all in about 15 to 20 minutes or so per episode. So make sure you subscribe down below so you don't miss any of our episodes throughout the course of this week. Tom Collins here in the presenting hot seat, and I'm joined by Ross Millar as ever. Ross, one day to the Cheltenham Festival. Are you ready?
I think I'm about TC. I tried to just give myself a bit of a break over the weekend. I mean, I wrote my racing TV article yesterday. Please, racing community, can we make a pact that we don't talk about Cheltenham until after Christmas because it gets a longer and longer build up. And I found actually at the end of last week I was sort of losing the will to live a little bit in terms of all this Cheltenham chat. But I've had a weekend of it, and I'm really looking forward to it now. And I think that weather should be set fair, so hopefully we'll have a good week.
Yeah, it feels like we've been building up to it for an absolute age, ever since the flat season, to be honest. But we're here now, and that's all that matters. Before we go through all the races over the next 15 minutes or so, I have plenty of offers to give you from SBK. Firstly, if you place a £5 bet builder on tonight's Premier League game between West Ham and Newcastle, this is Monday that we're filming, you'll get a free £2 Cheltenham bet. You need to opt in to take advantage of that offer. Secondly, SBK is offering a brilliant 20% winnings boost on the Supreme. Everyone likes getting a winner in the first race of the festival. 20% winnings boost, that will help with your bet balance, so make sure you take advantage of that. And thirdly, SBK is providing a free £2 Cheltenham multiple for all customers. You do need to opt in again for that offer, but go and check them all out. They're fantastic offers. There are a couple more that we'll say at the end of the show as well. T&Cs do apply for all of those. Right, time to talk about the races then, and we'll start with the Supreme Novices Hurdle at 1:20pm on Tuesday. Kopector Board is your current favourite, 21-20 with SBK, a shades of odds against here for trainer Willie Mullins. Romeo Coolio is second in. Then you're looking at Work Ahead, Salvador Monday, William Money. It's a relatively good race, but I don't know how much depth is in here, Ross. Willie Mullins applies a hood to Kopector Board. No horse has won the Supreme with headgear since 1992. Will Kopector Board buck that trend?
Yeah, so Adam obviously sent you the same stat as me, flown in '92. I get that stat. I don't think it's a positive. What I did say to him though, if you go back to '92, I think hoods are a relatively new sort of piece of kit, in racing. So you're talking about headgear, you're talking about cheap pieces, blinkers, the old-fashioned sort of visors. So generally, you're talking about horses that perhaps keep a bit for themselves, as opposed to a horse you want to calm down. I think it's quite interesting. I've watched a bit of footage on social media of him having a pick of grass on the racetrack with a hood on. It looks pretty calm. I used to take event horses. A lot of our event horses would do day trips to events, and then the big events you'd go away and sort of stay away as they do at Cheltenham. And sometimes horses would just absolutely lose the plot at being away from home in a different environment. He doesn't seem to have, so I think that's a positive. I quite like a shades of odds against 21-20 with SBK. Doesn't put me off massively. I think he looks like a potentially very talented horse. You quite right, you said it's perhaps not an awful lot of strength and depth. It might be one of those races we look back at in 3 or 4 years' time and say, wow, wasn't that a really good Supreme? I'm against Romeo Coolio. I think he lacks a bit of tactical speed. Salvatore Mundi, I was sort of encouraging people not to sleep on him. I'm worried about the jockey book, and I don't understand this. He doesn't always jump very well. He doesn't always settle very well. Patrick Mullins, I don't get on the bandwagon of knocking Patrick Mullins. It's not his fault. His father's Willie Mullins. He's a very good amateur jockey in amateur races. But I think if you said to most racing punters, I've got a horse that doesn't jump very well, doesn't settle very well, I can't use a jockey with a retainer, who would I use? I'm not sure Patrick Mullins would be a go-to man, if I'm honest. So that's slightly tempting to use on for him. I still like Aranci. I put him up on the big preview pod. He's been quite well found in the market. Obviously, people listen to the SBK pod. He's a bit shorter now. He's got loads of talent. He was very fragile, off for 762 days when moved from France to Willie Mullins. Finished third behind Firefox and Ballyburn in that Punchestown Maiden, where amazingly Ballyburn got beaten. Was off a year, came back, won at Punchestown by 9 lengths from Will the Wise. I think that's decent form. He's again gone missing, but the fact they come here, Mark Walsh is on board. I wouldn't be sleeping on him. I don't think Willie will have the 1, 2, 3 now, maybe, but I still like those two.
Yeah, a couple there for Ross then, both trained by Willie Mullins. Kopector Board at 21-20 and Aranci at around 18-1. I actually gave that stat to Adam, by the way, disclosure. I'm going to be with Kopector Board. I think this is going to be a winning favourite to start the Cheltenham Festival, what everyone wants, really. He just looked great last time at Leopardstown. I don't think there's much against him, to be honest with you. He could be a superstar. The hood doesn't put me off. I'm very much in the same boat as you. Hood is a relatively new kind of concept that Willie Mullins is taking on. He uses it for quite a lot of horses, not a negative. I understand the trend, but you've got to overlook trends sometimes. Right, we'll move on to the Arkle at 2 p.m. Willie Mullins again, maybe. Madgeborough is the 4-7 favourite, very short. In a small field, only 5 runners. Ross, good thing or opposing?
I just have it in my head, TC, that I'm not mad keen on Mark Walsh on gimmies. I'm not convinced he's as cool as perhaps some of the other top guys, fine rider though he is. So I want to be against him. I put Touch Me Not up on the big preview pod, and I said to back him then because you'd get 3 places about a race that I thought would cut up. That's proven to be correct. We've got 5 runners now. I'm not keen to go in again. I would just say I scoffed a little bit at your selection, Django Bay, and I have to apologise because I think you might be on something. Actually, I went back and watched his races, thought I was right, and then I watched a video of him schooling put up on the Seven Barrows X page. He looked really quick, and I just think if they feel they're in a situation they got shot to nothing, go as hard as they can for as long as they can. He might just surprise a few people. I think if Madgeborough turns up, he probably wins. I'm not going to have another bet because there's only 2 places each way. But if people were listening to you, they've now got my seal of approval as well.
Superb. Yeah, so that's Ross with Touch Me Not at around 18-1. I respect Madgeborough. He's got a huge engine. I'm unsure about his jumping. I don't want to be taking a short price on him. He could easily win, and many people will include him in a Cheltenham Acca or a combination bet over the day or the course of the week. But he's just not for me. As you say, I like Django Bay in here. 15-2 is a fair price. Last time up, he was unfortunate to lose in the head bob. Prior to that, he ran very well on this course, and he could be absolutely anything. This is no penalty kick. Lotus Sud, Django Bay, both very good horses. Madgeborough may be fantastic, but at a short price, not for me. He's one that's going to be in the grip of the bookmaker. They'll be hoping that he makes a few mistakes so those Accas go down. Okay, third race, the Ultima Handicap Chase, the first handicap of the meeting, Ross. Britain tends to win this event. Will they do it again? They've got a couple at the top of the market in the Changing Man and Broadway Boy.
Yeah, the Changing Man, never a horse I've got massively on board with. I think he does find a way of finishing second, and I wouldn't get too carried away about that Ascot win last time. It was a race that fell apart with Jinko Blue falling at the first. The Irish don't tend to win this. I put up Search for Glory at a big price. I still like him. He's got graded chase form behind Stella's Story. He ran really well behind Imperi Pass in the Forheen novice chase. You have to put a line through his last run, but that wouldn't worry me particularly. I think he's got a decent chance if he copes to the ground, but I don't think it's going to be lightning quick at this time of the day on Tuesday. So I'd give him a chance. Happy go lucky for Mel Rowley. I'd just throw him in. Had good form in this race a couple of years ago with Kim Bailey. He's dropped down the handicap. Very fragile. He's had sort of 2 breaks of over 300 days, but he returned over 2 mile, 4.5 at this track earlier in the season. I thought he shaped with a degree of promise. Still looked like he got a bit of a zip, despite the fact he's an 11-year-old. So I'd give him a price, a go each way. And then Broadway Boy, I'm just not sure. I don't think he's been brilliantly campaigned this year. They're going to have to have done a bit of a retrieval mission with him, but he does like the track.
Yes, he does, but he's a very short price in a race that's super competitive. So I'm with you there. I'm taking on these favourites. A long shot there for Ross in Search for Glory at 43-1, and Happy Go Lucky, a good mention as well, around 25-1. I'm going to also go against the Britain wins the Ultima trend and go for Melina Girl in here for Gavin Cromwell at around 18-1, which is a very fair price. She won by 10 lengths over a longer trip at this track in November 2023, came back in December 2023, was travelling well in a race that Broadway Boy ended up winning, but fell. I think it was 3 out. She shaped beautifully that day. I think she's going to love the test of the Ultima. She's a big price. She'll stay, and I think she can go very close. Melina Girl for me. The Mare's Hurdle's up next at 320. Lossiemouth has ducked the champion. She runs here instead. She's the 4-6 favourite over Jade de Grugy, stablemate, also trained by Willie Mullins. That horse is 9-2. It's then 12-1 bar. Ross, numerous questions here for you. Firstly, are you happy that Lossiemouth's come to this race instead of the champion? Secondly, are you offended they've opted for the easier option? And thirdly, who'd you like?
Am I happy? No, because I'd love to have seen her in the champion hurdle, but equally, I'm not unhappy, and I'm absolutely staggered that I saw a few people say if she wins this, let's boo her. I mean, as far as if you boo a racehorse at a racetrack, she'll be banned for life. It's just utterly mind-boggling. And I completely understand why they come here. And if you don't, go back and watch the fall she had last time out. I mean, we're lucky she's still here at all. It was a horrible fall. People, if your granny slips over on ice, she gets a bit nervous about going out to get the milk in the morning. The horses are the same. They can lose confidence. I would have laid her for my life if she turned up in the champion hurdle, because I just think if they went quick, she'd have jumped big, it would have got her bothered. Completely understand why they come here. They're quite within their right. The thing you'd have to question is whether she's been showing them signs of concern at home and they've gone for the easy race. Now, this has got shades of Vateur, hasn't it, for the JRT as it was, the Ryanair as it was, and the Gold Cup. As it turned out, he turned up and he delivered. But I don't want to take a short price about her. And I just like the fact that July Flower, who I think we both liked on the preview pod, now out to 12 to 1 each way angle. She's got to prove she comes down the hill at speed on probably better ground than she would ideally like. I mentioned Henry de Bromhead's form. I said he wanted to see an upturn, and it's gone from 6% to 13%, so it's going the right way. Year on year, he gets them right for this meeting. So I like July Flower at 12 to 1 with SBK.
Yep, me too. I'm also with July Flower in here. You can't say that these podcasts don't provide you some long shot value options. So far, apart from Kopector Board, we're all going left field with these picks. 12 to 1, July Flower, unexposed, jumps well, travels well, represents leading connections. I'm with you here. Lossymouth, I very much agree on numerous counts. Firstly, the person who put that on social media just shouldn't really be putting stuff like that anyway. Johnny Deneen, shout out to you for another terrible opinion. Yeah, look, she could win this race, but I just don't trust her at a very short price on the back of that fall. If she goes and wins, great. She's a horse that everyone has a soft spot for, but at the prices, I think there are going to be better short price favourites, one to come in the next maybe, across the course of the week. So July Flower each way for me. On to the next race then. That is the Champion Hurdle at 4 p.m. Slightly later off time than we're used to seeing. It's usually at 3:30. A great match in here, supposedly, between Constitution Hill and Brighter Days Ahead. Ross, I'm looking forward to this. I think, obviously, Brighter Days Ahead is a fantastic mare. Constitution Hill is the best we've seen for some time. Can she throw it up to him? Who's the bet?
I'm sure she can. I mean, they're exceptionally bullish, and you have to respect that. And you have to respect that they've come here when they could have gone to the mares as well and had a much easier target. I just don't think that she's as good. You've got to take one piece of form that was brilliant at Leopardstown, and you've got to take that with a pinch of salt, because State Man didn't turn up, and she beat horses in behind that were probably trying to get their mark down for a handicap. So I wouldn't trust it completely. I also worry that King of Kingsfield led her for a long way at Leopardstown, but he led her until the hill. Well, the first hill comes much earlier at Cheltenham. I could see her getting left in front at the top of the hill, having to do a bit of donkey work. Constitution Hill's got loads of pace. He'll like this ground. I saw a video of them, incidentally, both put videos up of the horses schooling as their prep. Well, there was only one horse that looked like a champion hurdle horse there, and it wasn't her. She's short. He's short now at 8 to 5 on. I put him up after that sort of gallop, before the fighting fifth. Got absolute pelters for it, but it's looking like a good price now, and I hope he goes and delivers.
Yeah, me too. I'm with Constitution Hill. As you say, 8 to 5 on, 5 to 8 with SBKs. Slightly strange odds, you may think, if you've not seen those before. Around 4 to 6 generally. That's what we're talking here for Constitution Hill. I think it's a pretty good price, to be honest, considering how good a horse he is. If you don't believe that he's at the same level as last year, he probably doesn't need to be to win this race, despite the fact that Brighter Days Ahead is a fantastic horse. Hopefully, obviously we're cheering on Constitution Hill, but hopefully we get a good match between the two, as that's what we need in these proper Grade 1 feature events. The penultimate race then is the Fred Winter, the Boodles, the Hallgarten and Novum Wines, whatever you want to call it. A race that changes title every year, but it's for the juvenile hurdlers. 11 to 2 the field in here. A couple of JP McManus owned horses at the top of the market in Beyond Your Dreams and Stencil. A max field of 22 runners. This is very difficult, as it is every single year. Where are your darts going?
Just one dart, TC, because it is so difficult. And I like having a couple of darts at the handicaps, but when it's trappy like this and you've got very little form to go on, I would argue this is the hardest handicap of the week to solve, because there's so little evidence on offer. I've gone with Mercia. I'm going to stick with her. I put her up on the preview pod. Took a while to win in France, but then she did. I thought she was far too keen on a debut for Willie Mullins. That was too bad to be true. Shaped far better last time behind a horse that's gone on to win a Grade 2. She was only beaten a short head on soft ground. She just looks to me like she might be quite pacey. This better ground might suit her. She'll stay well. She's 29 to 2 with SBK. And just one thing, you mentioned about the name of the races. Wouldn't it be great if you could just have the race name sponsored by? And surely that works then for brands, because you build the name of the race and put that into people's consciousness. It's so daft with these changing names all the time. It drives me absolutely mad.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to call this the Fred Winter from now on. It's registered as that anyway. But yeah, the long race name is a bit frustrating. So that's Mercia for Ross, trained by Willie Mullins again. Could be a big day for Willie, as we kind of expect when it comes to the Cheltenham Festival. I'm very frustrated that he didn't actually declare one of his other horses, Willie de Huel, in this race. I thought he would have had a great chance off top weight, but unfortunately not declared. I don't know whether they're going the Triumph route on Friday or just leaving the Cheltenham Festival as a whole, but that's just not good for my anti-post slips. I'll play 2 horses instead, both at big prices. Wendrock being the first one. He finished behind Hello Neighbour last time in a Grade 1. Prior to that, he beat a nice horse called Galileo Dame. If he can get back to that kind of form, then he's a big player off top weight here. For Gordon Elliott, who does well in this contest, he's about 25 to 1 and shouldn't be dismissed. The other one is Sonny Bill. 14 to 1. Again, Willie Mullins in here. Good French form prior to running in a couple of graded events for Willie. Now drops down off a nice handicap mark. And Paul Townend's on board. He doesn't ride too many horses in handicaps, so I think that's a big sign for Sonny Bill there at 14s. Finally, it's the National Hunt Chase at 5:20 p.m. Haiti Couleur, Now Is the Hour, and Transmission. They all top the market between 9 to 2 and 11 to 2, Transmission being the outside of those 3. Are you leaning the way of one of those, or are you going to one of the rags?
No, I like Haiti Cleur's TC. He's been my handicap fancy from some way out. I've mentioned him a couple of times on the Tuesday podcast I do. I am mildly concerned about Ben Jones riding him, and this is no slight on Ben Jones at all. And he'll admit it himself and has admitted, he sometimes just struggles to be patient enough. It's a long way round here, and I would just like to see him take a pull because I think he's going to be going well at the top of the hill. I'd like to take a pull, just count to 10. He's a really good jumper, this horse. He's improved massively for going over fences. So the fact that he ran so well in his prep race at Newbury over hurdles off this mark, jumping improves him. The more jumps they are, the better he should be. I think he's really well handicapped. I really hope Transmission would go to the Kim Muir with Patrick on board. He comes here with Patrick on board. I'm going to have a saver. Patrick against the professionals, slightly tempers enthusiasm. Going to have a saver on him. But Haiti Couleurs, I really think this horse is a talented individual, and I hope he gets it done.
Haiti Couleurs then for Ross. It's going to be Transmission for me. Patrick Mullins, as you say, on board. At least he rode the horse earlier in the season. It feels like it's been a long-term plan for them to come here and have Patrick ride. He shaped very well over a shorter trip, and I think he'll stay. So I'll take Transmission at around 5 to 1. I'll also have a couple of quid on Resplendent Grey at 12 to 1. Purely from a loyalty perspective, it's not the way to bet, really, and I shouldn't be advising it. But I have bet this horse a couple of times before. I think he's well handicapped. He just doesn't jump very well. Maybe the longer stamina test and the fact they'll go slower up front early will help him out. So I'll have to have a couple quid on him as well. But Transmission will be my main selection. That's all 7 races covered then on Tuesday. Ross, best selection for you?
I think July Flower is the best price TC at 12 to 1. Haiti Couleurs is the one I've been sweetest on the longest, though.
Okay, Kopector board for me in this Supreme on day 1. And we know that a lot of people love to do accumulators, especially at the Cheltenham Festival. So it's time for us to combine to produce a 4-leg combo. I'm going to add in the shorties and be very boring and unhelpful for you, Ross, and put in Kopector board and Constitution Hill. I think both of those are pretty much sure to guarantee victory, and they should be the backbone for a combination. Who would you like to add in?
Well, I get a bit of a nosebleed over short price because I just don't think they're a smart way to bet long term. I think of the shorties, you picked the right 2. I think you can find scenarios where Lossiemouth and Mashborough get beaten, and you will see loads of people putting up 4-foals like that. Might well go in. For me, finding 4 winners on a day at Cheltenham, you're doing pretty well, however short they are. So Arthur in July Flower, 12 to 1, and Haiti Couleurs, I think he's 23 to 5 with SBK.
Yeah, so that's 4 horses there. Kopector board, Constitution Hill, July Flower and Haiti Couleur, 229 to 1 for an ACCA. Just as a pointer on that, if you are playing accumulators, be wary there is 4 days and it's very unlikely that you're going to cop on day 1. We all saw the Annie Power story a few years ago, so just be wary with that. Excellent stuff then, Ross. Hopefully you have a great day on Tuesday. Hopefully I put up a few winners as well. Just a reminder of the numerous offers that we have listed. 20% winnings boost with SBK on the Supreme. Make sure you take advantage of that. A free £2 Cheltenham multiple on offer for all customers if you opt in. And also a free £2 Cheltenham bet if you place a £5 bet builder on the West Ham v Newcastle Premier League game on Monday evening. Also, all new SBK customers can get £40 in free bet when you sign up and place your first £10 bet. And finally, you can listen to all of SBK's betting podcasts in the app. Go to the horse racing section and just click play. Ross, fantastic episode. Looking forward to doing this again with you tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully to regale our wonderful nous and tipping selections TC, or more likely to cry about how do we not see that coming.
Yeah, we will be doing a review of Tuesday's action and then obviously looking ahead to Wednesday. So make sure you join us for that. Best of luck on Tuesday. Goodbye.